He did not enter history slowly. He did not rise gradually. He did not negotiate his way into power. He came like lightning. Daniel 8 opens in silence. Babylon is still standing. The world does not yet know that its golden days are numbered. Daniel is older now. He has already seen kingdoms rise and fall in vision. He has seen beasts emerge from restless waters. He has seen metal statues shattered by a stone cut without hands. But now the scenery changes again. And as I was considering, behold, a he-goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth, and touched not the ground. And the goat had a notable horn between his eyes. Daniel 8:5. Daniel is not told immediately what he is seeing. He is shown movement from the west, across the whole earth, not touching the ground. This is not just an animal. It is velocity embodied. It is conquest personified. It is an empire that moves so quickly that Daniel struggles to find language to describe it. It does not walk. It does not run. It flies. If you step back for a moment, you realize something remarkable. Daniel has already seen this power before. In Daniel 2, it was bronze, the metal that followed silver. In Daniel 7, it was a leopard with 4 wings on its back, speed multiplied. Now in Daniel 8, the symbol intensifies again, a goat that does not even touch the ground. Same sequence, same empire. Daniel 2 gives the outline. Daniel 7 gives the character. Daniel 8 gives the detail. And in Daniel 8, the speed becomes the dominant feature. The goat rushes toward a ram that had been standing with 2 horns, pushing westward, northward, and southward. Daniel 8:3-4. The ram had seemed unstoppable. No beast could stand before it. It represented stability and expansion. But the moment the God appears, everything changes. And I saw him come close unto the ram, and he was moved with choler against him, and smote the ram, and brake his 2 horns. Daniel 8:7. The language is violent, sudden, decisive. There is no prolonged struggle. The ram falls. The goat grows. Only after the action unfolds does the angel provide the interpretation. The ram which thou sawest having 2 horns are the kings of Media and Persia, and the rough goat is the king of Grecia, and the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king. Daniel 8:20-21. There it is, no ambiguity. The ram was Medo-Persia, the goat was Greece, the great horn was its first king. History gives that first king a name, Alexander. But Daniel is not writing a biography. He is recording prophecy. The focus is not the personality, it is the pattern. Alexander becomes the visible evidence that prophecy was not symbolic exaggeration. If this word is encouraging your faith, hit like and consider subscribing. It truly helps the message go further. Consider the timeline. Daniel received this vision during the reign of Belshazzar. Daniel 8:1, Medo-Persia had not yet conquered Babylon. Greece was not yet a dominant world power. Alexander was not yet born. Yet Daniel sees an empire from the west overthrowing Persia with breathtaking speed. And when Alexander finally appears in history, centuries later, he does exactly what the prophecy described. In less than a decade, he dismantles the Persian Empire. From 334 to 323 BC, he marches across Asia Minor, defeats Darius III, sweeps through Egypt, pushes into Mesopotamia, and advances as far as India. Ancient historians struggle to explain the velocity of his campaigns. Cities fall rapidly. Armies collapse, resistance crumbles. Daniel had already seen it. This is where the connections deepen. In Daniel 2, bronze follows silver. The statue moves from Babylon gold to Medo-Persia silver to Greece bronze. Bronze was known in the ancient world for its military utility. Greek soldiers were famous for their bronze armor, bronze shields, bronze weaponry. The imagery is not random. It reflects the material culture of the empire. In Daniel 7, Greece appears as a leopard with 4 wings. A leopard is already fast. Add 4 wings, and the symbolism intensifies. Speed again. Daniel 8 then removes the wings and replaces them with something even more dramatic. An animal that does not touch the ground at all. The prophetic narrative is consistent. The empire is defined by swiftness. But the prophecy also includes a critical turning point. Therefore, the he-goat waxed very great, and when he was strong, the great horn was broken. Daniel 8. Alexander does not die in defeat. He dies at the height of his power. Around the age of 32 or 33, in Babylon, the very city Daniel once served, the conqueror collapses unexpectedly. Illness, fever, sudden end. The great horn is broken when he was strong. That detail matters. It confirms that prophecy was not describing a gradual decline. It anticipated an abrupt interruption. And for it came up 4 notable ones toward the 4 winds of heaven, Daniel 8:8. After Alexander's death, his empire does not pass to a single successor. It fractures. Ultimately, 4 major divisions emerge under his generals: Cassander, Lysimachus, Seleucus, and Ptolemy. The 4 winds, the 4 horns. Daniel 7 had already shown 4 heads on the leopard. Daniel 8 now clarifies that these represent divisions after the great horn is broken. Again, 3 visions, same structure, expanding clarity. This is not coincidence, it is layered revelation. What makes this empire especially significant, however, is not just its speed or its military success, it is its cultural impact. Greece did not merely conquer territory, it reshaped civilization. Greek language spread across the known world. Greek philosophy influenced intellectual life. Greek customs penetrated societies far beyond their borders. By the time Rome rises to dominance, the Mediterranean world is already Hellenized. Even the New Testament is written in Greek. The intellectual soil into which Christianity is planted has already been prepared by the cultural expansion of Greece. Prophecy does not isolate political history from spiritual history. It shows how God allows empires to rise and fall within a larger redemptive timeline. When Daniel saw the goat not touching the ground, he was not merely observing military brilliance, he was witnessing a stage in the unfolding of salvation history. And yet, there is something sobering in the narrative. The god becomes very great, Daniel 8. Medo-Persia had become great. Babylon had become great. Each empire reaches a moment of apparent invincibility. Each one appears unstoppable. Each one assumes permanence. And each one falls. Alexander's empire, despite its brilliance, fractures almost immediately. His vision of unity dissolves into rivalry. His generals fight. Territories contested. Stability erodes. The prophecy is not celebrating conquest. It is exposing its fragility. When you step back and compare Daniel 2, 7, and 8 together, you begin to see the architecture of the message. God is not merely predicting political transitions. He is revealing a pattern of human power, rapid rise, expansion, self-exaltation, collapse. The head of gold falls, the chest of silver falls, the bronze follows the same path. And Daniel, now elderly, watching these visions unfold in his mind, must have felt the weight of it. He had lived through Babylon's glory. He had served in its courts. He had seen the Medes and Persians take control. Now he sees yet another empire coming with unstoppable force. How many more? Daniel 8 does not end with Greece. The God story leads to another development, a little horn that emerges from one of the divisions. But that belongs to the next movement of the vision, For now, the focus remains on the empire that came like a storm, the empire that did not touch the ground, the empire that seemed invincible, the empire that was predicted centuries before its arrival. When modern readers look at ancient prophecy and wonder whether it is symbolic imagination or historical reality, Daniel 8 forces a confrontation. The details are too specific. The sequence is too consistent across chapters. The rise and fall of Medo-Persia in Greece align too closely with the prophetic outline. Daniel was not speculating. He was receiving revelation. And revelation, once fulfilled, becomes evidence. The Bronze Kingdom was not random. The leopard with 4 wings was not poetic exaggeration. The goat that did not touch the ground was not metaphor without substance. It was Greece, it was Alexander. It was the next link in a chain that leads beyond bronze, beyond silver, beyond gold, toward a kingdom that does not fracture, does not decay, does not die young. But before we move there, we must let the weight of this empire settle, because Daniel is not merely telling us that Greece rose. He's showing us that history moves exactly as God says it will. And when an empire can be described centuries in advance, its direction, its speed, its fragmentation, then the prophecy that continues beyond it deserves our attention. The goat has crossed the stage, the bronze has replaced the silver, and the world is one step closer to the final movement Daniel has yet to describe. The empire did not collapse into silence. It fractured. When the great horn was broken, the world did not suddenly breathe in relief. It shifted. Power did not disappear, it redistributed. The momentum that had carried Greek armies across continents did not evaporate with Alexander's final breath in Babylon. It splintered, hardened, and turned inward. Daniel had seen it in a single sentence, and for it came up 4 notable ones toward the 4 winds of heaven. The speed that had once been unified now scattered. The energy that had once driven one wheel now flowed into 4. History confirms what the vision anticipated. After years of struggle among Alexander's generals, 4 dominant regions solidified. Cassander took Macedonia and Greece. Lysimachus controlled Thrace and parts of Asia Minor. Seleucus ruled over Syria and the vast eastern territories. Ptolemy established authority in Egypt. 4 winds, 4 horizons. A world carved into quadrants, but prophecy is not merely concerned with political geography. It is tracing a pattern that began in Daniel 2 and sharpened in Daniel 7. The statue in Daniel 2 did not disintegrate when bronze appeared, it progressed. The leopard in Daniel 7 did not vanish without detail, it carried 4 heads. Now, Daniel 8 clarifies what those heads represent. The sequence is steady, the structure is intentional. Babylon unified under gold, Medo-Persia governed under dual authority. Greece surged under one dominant horn and then fractured into 4. Each empire grows in complexity. Each stage moves the world closer to the final act. What makes this transition crucial is not simply the division itself, but the environment those divisions create. The Mediterranean world becomes culturally unified, even while politically fragmented. Greek language spreads beyond the boundaries of any single ruler. Trade routes intensify, cities flourish, intellectual centers multiply. The East and West are no longer distant spheres. They are connected to shared language and philosophy. This is where Daniel's vision begins to feel less like ancient history and more like preparation. The statue of Daniel 2 was not built for nostalgia. It was built to show progression. Gold gives way to silver. Silver gives way to bronze. Bronze does not remain pure, it prepares the ground for iron. If you read the sequence carefully, you notice that bronze occupies a strategic position. It is the bridge between Eastern dominance and Western expansion. It links the ancient world to what follows. In Daniel 7, the leopard does not stand alone. After it comes a beast unlike the others, dreadful and terrible, exceedingly strong. Daniel 8 follows the same trajectory. The goat rises, conquers, breaks, divides. Then something emerges from one of the divisions. The vision does not slow down, it narrows, but before that narrowing, we must understand the weight of Greece's influence. The divisions of the empire created rivalries that shaped centuries. The Seleucid and Ptolemaic dynasties, in particular, would clash repeatedly over territories that included Judea. The land Daniel loved, the land of his people, became a corridor between competing powers. This was not random turbulence. It was the outworking of a fragmented bronze kingdom. In Daniel 8, after describing the four horns, the text states that out of one of them came a little horn, which waxed exceeding great. That detail does not float disconnected from the previous chapters. It builds on them. In Daniel 7, another little horn emerges among 10 horns of a later beast. The repetition of imagery is deliberate. It signals that history is not chaotic, it is sequential. But we must remain anchored in where we stand. The goat has conquered, the horn has broken, the emperor has divided. Now the question becomes, what does this fragmentation reveal about the nature of human power? Alexander achieved what few had imagined possible. By his early 30s, he commanded territories stretching from Greece to India. He was hailed as divine by some, he was feared by others. His military tactics were studied, imitated, admired. Yet within years of his death, his unified empire no longer existed. Daniel had already seen that instability. The leopard's four heads were not a symbol of harmony. They were a sign of multiplication without cohesion. The four horns in Daniel 8 confirm the same reality. Strength does not guarantee permanence. Expansion does not ensure endurance. This is where the connection to Daniel 2 deepens. The bronze section of the statue is strong, but it is not final. It is substantial, but it does not resist the stone cut without hands. The statue's progression reveals a steady movement towards something entirely different. Bronze matters, Greece matters, but neither is ultimate. If you place Daniel 2, 7 and 8 side by side, the clarity intensifies. In Daniel 2, the metals decline in value but increase in hardness. In Daniel 7, the beasts grow more terrifying in description. In Daniel 8, the focus shifts from raw power to specific actions that affect the sanctuary and the people of God. Each chapter zooms further into the moral and spiritual consequences of empire. Greece is not merely a military phenomenon. It reshapes thought. It introduces philosophical systems that redefine how humanity understands reason, virtue, and the divine. It spreads language that becomes the vehicle for later revelation. It sets the stage for the world into which the Messiah will be born. This is not coincidence. The progression of empires in Daniel does not detach from redemption. It moves alongside it. While kings strategize and generals conquer, a larger narrative unfolds quietly beneath their ambitions. The fragmentation of Greece created corridors of influence that Rome would later consolidate. The Iron Kingdom of Daniel 2 does not emerge in isolation. It rises in a world already conditioned by Greek culture and language. The Bronze phase is transitional. It accelerates global interaction. It standardizes communication. It dissolves regional isolation. From a prophetic standpoint, this matters, because the final kingdom described in Daniel 2, the stone cut without hands, confronts not a fragmented tribe, but a connected world. The gospel would later spread along roads built by Rome and through language shaped by Greece. The prophetic outline anticipates this convergence. Yet Daniel himself did not see roads and manuscripts. He saw symbols: a goat from a west, a horn broken at strength, 4 winds dividing power. His responsibility was not to predict every cultural nuance, but to record the structure of history. And that structure holds. Medo-Persia fell exactly as described. Greece rose with speed exactly as portrayed. Its leader died at the height of power. The empire divided into 4. These are not vague alignments. They are precise correspondences. When you consider that Daniel received this vision centuries before these events unfolded, the weight becomes difficult to dismiss. This is not retrospective storytelling. It is forward declaration, but the vision does not celebrate Greece. It records it. There is no admiration in the tone. There is observation. The goat grows very great. Then the horn is broken. The narrative does not linger in praise. It moves on. That restraint is intentional. Human power dazzles, but it is temporary. Every empire believes it stands at the center of history. Daniel's visions reveal that each one is a link in a chain. And the chain continues. The Bronze Kingdom achieved what silver could not. It crossed boundaries rapidly. It connected continents. It standardized communication. It redefined education. Yet it could not hold itself together. Internal rivalry eroded unity. Ambition fractured cohesion. Influence persisted, but political dominance shifted. Daniel 7's leopard with 4 wings and 4 heads is no exaggeration. It is a compressed summary of decades of turbulence. Daniel 8 expands that summary, revealing how the fracture unfolds and where it leads. The prophetic narrative does not exist to impress us with ancient accuracy alone. It exists to guide interpretation forward. If the outline has proven reliable through gold, silver, and bronze, then what follows deserves careful attention. Because Daniel does not stop at Greece, the goat's dominance and division are not the end of the vision. They are the midpoint. They transition the world toward the next power that will redefine governance and exert influence beyond what Greece achieved politically. And this is where tension begins to rebuild. The 4 horns stand, but from one of them emerges something smaller at first, almost unnoticed. It does not begin with the scale of Alexander. It does not rush across continents in a single decade. It grows gradually. It extends toward the south, toward the east, toward the pleasant land. The focus of the vision narrows from global speed to targeted impact. This is not a shift away from history. It is a shift deeper into it. The Bronze Kingdom prepared the world. Its divisions shaped geopolitical tension, its culture permeated thought, but its fragmentation created vulnerability. The next stage would exploit that vulnerability. If Daniel 2 teaches progression, Daniel 7 teaches character, and Daniel 8 teaches precision, then the lesson of Greece within this triad is unmistakable. God's timeline moves forward regardless of human ambition. Alexander believed he was reshaping the world. In one sense, he did, but he was also fulfilling a sequence already revealed. The Bronze Kingdom did not surprise heaven. Its speed did not outpace divine foresight. Its fracture did not derail the plan. It occupied its place and passed it on, and that is the sobering center of the narrative. Empires appear unstoppable until they are not. Leaders appear irreplaceable until they vanish. Power concentrates and disperses in cycles that feel dramatic in the moment and inevitable in retrospect. Daniel's vision invites the listener to step outside the immediacy of politics and observe the architecture of history. Gold fell, silver fell, bronze rose and fractured. The pattern is steady, and if the pattern is steady, then the next movement is not random. The goat has crossed the earth without touching the ground. The great horn has broken. The four winds have divided the territory. The cultural shockwaves continue. But the prophetic story is not finished. It is tightening, and what comes next will not simply reshape borders. It will redefine authority. The Bronze Empire did exactly what prophecy said it would do. It came with speed, shattered a global power, reached breathtaking heights, and then fractured almost as quickly as it had risen. What looked unstoppable proved temporary. What seemed brilliant proved fragile. The man who carried the world in his hands could not carry his own life beyond a few short decades. The generals who inherited the territories could not inherit unity. The culture that reshaped civilization could not prevent internal division. And Daniel, watching this unfold in vision long before it unfolded in history, was not being shown military trivia. He was being shown a pattern. Gold fell. Bronze rose and fractured. The sequence is not random. It is instructional. Each empire believes it stands at the center of history. Each one assumes permanence. Each one projects strength, sophistication, and confidence. Yet each one becomes a chapter, not the conclusion. If we read Daniel only as ancient prediction, we miss the deeper weight of what is being revealed. These kingdoms are mirrors. They reflect humanity's repeated attempt to build stability without submission, glory without dependence, dominion without surrender to the one who rules above all dominion. Alexander conquered continents, but he could not conquer mortality. Greece unified language, but it would not unify the human heart. Power accelerated, character did not. Influence expanded, permanence did not. And that is where the message turns personal. Because the prophecy is not simply asking whether Greece was predicted accurately. It is asking whether we recognize this same illusion in our own lives. We build careers, reputations, security systems, intellectual frameworks. We move quickly. We achieve. We expand. Yet the same fragility that marked bronze still marks us. Strength does not equal stability. Visibility does not equal victory. Expansion does not equal eternity. Daniel 2 does not end with bronze. Daniel 7 does not end with the leopard. Daniel 8 does not end with the goat. Every vision moves beyond human empire towards something entirely different. A kingdom not built by human ambition, not fractured by rivalry, not ended by disease or betrayal. In Daniel 2, the stone cut without hands strikes the statue and grows into a mountain that fills the whole earth. That kingdom does not arise from conquest, but from divine initiative. It does not depend on a single charismatic ruler whose death destabilizes everything. It is rooted in authority that does not expire. That is where this moves from history to decision. If every earthly structure eventually collapses, where is your confidence anchored? If even the fastest empire could not outrun its appointed limits, what are you trusting to carry you through yours? The prophecy does not simply prove that God knows the future. It reveals that He stands above it. He names kingdoms before they rise. He outlines their character before they dominate. He marks their boundaries before they expand. That means history is not chaotic. It is supervised. It is not spiraling. It is progressing toward a defined climax. And that is why the invitation matters. The same Christ who will establish the final kingdom already offers allegiance now. Not forced allegiance, chosen allegiance. The bronze shattered silver, iron will follow bronze, but the stone outlasts them all. To place your life inside that kingdom is to shift from temporary foundations to an eternal one. It is to stop investing ultimate hope in systems that are already scheduled to dissolve. It is to recognize that the one who revealed Greece before it existed is not merely a predictor of events, but the rightful king. In the next movement of Daniel's vision, another power will step onto the stage, more ruthless, more enduring, more complex. But before we trace that development, the question stands in front of us. Will you continue placing your trust in kingdoms that rise and fall, or will you align yourself with the kingdom that does not? Bronze had its moment, so will iron. But only one ring has no expiration date. The invitation is simple and urgent. Surrender to Christ now, before the next empire rises and the timeline moves forward again.